I'm going to be pretty pragmatic and calm today. Yesterday I was not when it came to the 76ers. And I watched Drek last night. Now, I know people dismiss Drek as, well, they don't have all their full team. They don't have their two best players on the floor. When the three of them together, they're going to be okay. Last night against a crap team, the Sixers proved that they don't have good enough role players, which to me is a problem. I don't know if it's a problem to anybody else that the role players aren't good enough to carry a team over a bad NBA team. It bothers me. In addition to what's going on behind the scenes with this Embiid thing, I am demoralized, shall we say. Now, the gang is all here. Bill's here, right here. Why am I demoralized? I'm demoralized because I had hoped that coming into the season, there would be some promise finally for this franchise because they had pretty much, I don't know, did they maximize what they had? They got another superstar. They filled in with a bunch of veteran role players who weren't going to hurt them, that you could maybe trust coming off the bench. And all we've gotten as Sixer fans is a cast iron pan across the face like it's some cartoon. Whap! We got nothing. We have no hope right now. I told you I was going to be calm. We have no hope right now because we don't know from one day to the next what this franchise is all about. We don't know when the two star players are going to play. We know the one's going to come back and play, and Paul George, because he's rehabbing from it. We don't know about the other guy. The preservation of Joel Embiid has taken on a life of its own now, where fans are in the darkness. Fans have gone. It's amazing. I've seen this transition happen over the last several days. Fans have gone from buying into this rot that it's more important for him not to play than to actually play, because God forbid if he plays, we're going to tenderize him like some 5-day-old peach, and he's not going to be able to be full strength when it comes to the playoffs. They sold that narrative to everybody, and everybody goes, you know what? They're right. My God, they're right. He doesn't have to play. The early season doesn't mean anything. It's more important that we have him for the playoffs, presuming that we're going to have him for the playoffs. Like, there's only several months to go before we actually get to the playoffs where anything can happen. They could sit him out for 30 games, and in game 35, he could get banged up. Like, this premise, and people are starting to be onto it. They're going, you know what? Okay, now I'm annoyed. I bought into it at first. The joke was on me. Oh, yes, he doesn't have to play. It's more important for him to be healthy for the playoffs. Saying that in October, by the way. And so here's the player himself going, you know what? It's more important for me not to play. Yeah, I know I want to convince everybody I'm the most dominant player in the league. But woe is me. I'm too fragile to play now. I wasn't good enough or in good enough physical shape to actually start the season. I didn't have that responsibility after I played in the Olympics. You see where I'm going with this? Every little thing, including losing last night to poo-poo, is in the equation for the Philadelphia 76ers. Bill, am I right? Am I wrong?
I wish I could provide some positivity to the fan base today, but you're right, man. You're right. And with there being no end in sight with Joel Embiid, this team is terrible, Mike. I mean, they have no one that can create their own shot at all. And when they are shooting, you're talking about a team that's 28th in field goal percentage, last in three-point percentage. So I get it. These are role players that are playing probably more responsibility. Not probably, they are. They're given more responsibility than you would expect when Paul George and Joel Embiid are healthy. But fans are going to start getting frustrated because when you let the Detroit Pistons come into the Wells Fargo Center, the Pistons haven't won there since March of 2017. We were still celebrating the Eagles Super Bowl the last time the Pistons came into the Wells Fargo Center and beat the 76ers. And not only did they do it last night, they do it with Tobias. With Tobias Harris dropping 18 and 14 boards. It's hard to sit here today and be like, well, it's okay. I saw your tweet. It's a marathon, not a sprint, Mike.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, is what Allah said during the broadcast. Now, I know Allah has to say those things, but I wish he wouldn't. I really would. I understand that he has to carry to the organization, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. In other words, this stuff doesn't matter, which insults me. But we'll move on from that. The one premium player they have right now is like a spinning top. He's all over the place, forcing crap, throwing up three-pointers that are not in rhythm because he believes he's got to now carry the team, which he's not capable of carrying a team with the rest of these guys around him. One of the things I worried about when they loaded up on older role players was what? That they were older role players. Like, what are they going to do? How much are they going to give them? And I know you're high on Caleb Martin. And what did I say about him? He looks like a system player in the Miami system to me. He looks no better than that.
I'm still waiting on, though, what Caleb Martin looks like when you get Joel and Paul George. And I know that's not what people want to hear today. When are we getting them back? That's the big question. But I'm not ready to say, hey, Caleb Martin can't play in this system because we don't know. And when you keep talking about older role players, they're exactly that, though, Mike. The emphasis is on role. And you're not asking them to play a role now. You're asking them to try to carry this team. And they can't. And you're right. Maxi's all they have. And their only offense is him and Drummond running a little pick and roll. They got nothing else. And that brings us to the head coach. Like, what the hell is Nick Nurse doing? How come he can't figure out how to make some of these guys serviceable without Joel Embiid? You're now looking at a team that's 17-30 dating back to last year without Joel Embiid on the court. That's 47 games. And I thought Nick Nurse was a great basketball coach. I'm not ready to rule him out yet, but come on, man. Figure something out. That offense looked terrible it looked ugly as can be. You can't figure something out with the guys that you have on this team. All you got is a pick and roll with Andre Drummond and Tyrese Maxey. That's it. And if that doesn't work, you're just going to be throwing up shots that you can't make. It's an ugly brand of basketball to watch, and it doesn't sound like it's getting any better because now we're hearing maybe Joel comes back next week. What did Shams say? He's done some scrimmages?
This is beautiful because Shams is a product of what agents tell him and what executives tell him because they know he'll put it out there. Like all due respect to the guy, I think he does work hard, but he gets fed stuff that people want out. All right?
No doubt about it.
And he goes with it.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, you see the same thing with Schefter in football.
Right, so I can't trust anybody. But here is Shams on the Embiid situation, which is coming directly from the 76ers front office.
I'm told he is essentially in the ramp-up phase of his return process, of his debut process. He has completed, from what I'm told, multiple 5-on-5 scrimmages in recent days. And so the Sixers want to make sure, from a conditioning perspective, his knee, his body is 100% before he makes it back out on the floor for his debut. He has workout scheduled today and on Friday to evaluate whether he's going to be able to make a return as soon as this weekend. But this is all a part of what has been described to me as the new normal for Joel Embiid. That's going to include periodic time off at different points during the season. It's going to include routine checkups on his knee over the course of the season. And it is all part of the Sixers and Joel Embiid's new strategy this season on how to keep him healthy when he has never been, and that's for the playoffs.
Shams should take a shower after being used like that.
The new normal, Mike.
So here is here's what a real reporter would do, and he's not a real reporter. He's a messenger for people. All right. So here, like, essentially, he's in the ramp up period. Okay. Here's the next question: why? Why is he in the ramp? Okay, they told me he's in the ramp up period. As a reporter, you go, well, why would he be in the ramp up period? Like, there were several months before training camp. Now he goes, well, they make sure you get the conditioning perspective. About why? Why isn't he conditioned? Like, these are questions that should be asked by reporters. Well, and they tried to do it yesterday with Nick Nurse, who's like is the fall guy for the whole thing. He doesn't know what to say. Daryl Mory has a responsibility to come out and address these questions. Now, I I requested Daryl Morey. I have a semi-decent relationship with Daryl Morey from back in the day. And I requested him yesterday, and I was told by the Sixers that Daryl is not available right now, that maybe in the next week or whatever. All right? So I'm trying my best to get answers. I'll have Daryl Morey on this show, and if he tells me something, essentially he's in a ramp-up period, I'll say, why? That will be the question.
Yeah, it's unfair that they keep rolling out Nick Nurse, and I understand his frustration a little bit. I mean, it gets under your skin because you want answers, and he's the face that's out there. But you're right. It should be Daryl Morey, or, hey, maybe even the owner we never hear from because he's down in Washington.
It's not going to be the owner. He doesn't know basketball from a pumpkin.
But
so,
Yeah, but you're not going to hear.
It's not going to be him.
You're not going to hear from Josh.
Well, I let my basketball people take care of the basketball part.
That's pretty good.
I'm in Washington, D.C. I don't really understand what's happening up here. And then, I'm in Jersey because my hockey team is playing. 610-632-0975. We'll talk some Eagles issues as well. It's a Thursday as we get it ready. I don't know about you guys. I'm ramping up for a weekend of football. I need to ramp up today.
And happy Halloween, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, but I essentially in my ramp-up period for the Eagles game on Sunday. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. We're back after this.
Man, you're right.